Salute. You know, I did a story on this a while ago when this story first broke. And I see a lot of brothers asking me to do a video on it. And if you've been around for a while, you know that I've done videos on it already. But I understand we have a lot of brothers over here who are new to the channel and, you know, who wasn't around during that time. But let me explain something to
you. Now, this should have made international headlines. This should have went viral. I know this happened years ago. This happened years ago. I remember doing a video on this years ago. And I remember at the time, there was no outrage about it. There was no outcry from any black woman about this. There was no outcry, no outrage, nothing. This was like one of them little things that you fumble across on the internet. You didn't hear any national headline news about it, any international news. You didn't hear anything about it on any mainstream coverage about this whole incident that took place. Talk about this dude infected over 600 black women in America.
you, brothers. You know what? I'm gonna get to that at the end. But this guy, DJ Pope, the reason why he was able to do this is simply because he was a brat. Simply because he was a brat. He infected over, this is what said, I think is a higher number, but they said that he infected over 600 Keishas. Look at these videos. I mean, look at these photos. Look at the photos. Look at these photos. And you know what's crazy?
But
when
nigga
this
ain't
happened,
shit though.
Where was the videos? Where was the videos?
Yep.
From these Keishas? We didn't see any videos. We didn't see any, outrage.
Yep.
We didn't see no outrage from these Keishas. This was the time for them to rally together and give awareness. If they really cared about other Keishas, give awareness on why they shouldn't be this promiscuous with anybody.
They put a carpet over it.
With anybody. But of course they didn't say anything because it's a Brad. And I tell you, all they do is protect Brad's image. That's all they do. This what they protects Brad's image.
If it was a black man that did it.
And you know what's funny? It's they would choose to get taken on Tizzy tours, right? Get taken on Tizzy tours by a filthy looking Brad. When I saw these pictures, it looked like these pictures was taken in 2005 the way he dressed. Looked like these pictures was taken in 2005. Filthy looking Brad. Look where his hands usually are when he's taking these pictures with these Keishas. And, here's the thing, right? When you look at these Keishas and, when they get taken on Tizzy tours, the reason why I tell you brothers to stay away from them, because they don't care about protection. They so thirsty for a mixed baby. That's what they're really looking for, to get taken on Tizzy tours, looking for a mixed baby. And, when you look at how, you know, sexually active they are, right? By the time you get to you, and I'm talking about if you and your, let's say you're 21, let's say you're 21 years old, right? And the Keisha that you're talking to is 21. By the time y'all two done met, right? At 21, you probably had 3, maybe 4 sexual partners. At 21, she probably had 130, which put you at risk. What puts you at risk? His real name is Jason Roger Pope, also known as DJ Kid. And, you know, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison, but the sentence was suspended to 19 years. Now, here's the thing. If these Keishas would have came out and would have said, when the, you know, would have went to court, would have came out and, you know, got together, you know, protesting about this dude, he would have got life. He would have got life. No possibility of parole. But where were they? Where were they? Huh? Brad worship is real.
Yep.
The Brad worship is real, black men. I've been telling y'all this for years. Look at these photos. The Brad worship is real.
The queens of the community.
It's real. And here's a big problem. Because I want y'all to pay attention to this, what I'm about to say, what I'm about to show y'all. Because I hope this will open your eyes even more. A while ago, I was talking about Passport Keisha, Pass Pizzy Kizzy. I don't know if y'all remember, but I was talking about, you know, Passport Kizzy, Keisha. This was around a little after COVID. I did a video, right? And what I was explaining to y'all, how these Keishas were going overseas, right, during the pandemic, and that was the only way they was able to go overseas, because remember, those flights were dirt cheap. Nobody was traveling. Those, you know, it was dirt cheap. I'm talking dirt cheap. You was able to go anywhere. You know, I remember hearing flights were like 30, 40 bucks. You know, they was going. They took advantage. They definitely took advantage. But what I was explaining to y'all, how a lot of these Keishas, you know, when they go over, when they were going overseas, and anytime they go anywhere, right, dealing with Brad or dealing with Hector or whatever, I remember, you know, them coming back. And all of a sudden, these same Keishas that came back from traveling, they was infected with something. They was infected with something. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just went on vacation. You went overseas. But then all of a sudden, they started blaming black men. They started blaming black men. Hey, it was black men that gave her this or that gave her that. And it turns out, no, it wasn't black men. No, it was those Brads overseas. It was those Brads overseas. They were getting taken on tizzy tours by any Brad. They'd get taken on the tizzy tour by any Brad over here. I remember doing a video with these Keishas going to Greece, and they were bragging about looking to get taken on tizzy tours. And then I gave y'all the statistics of the STDs over there, and they were high. They were high. And I'm like, well, so they going over there to get taken on Tizzy tours, catch something, come back, and then blame it on black men. Blame it on black men. And you're like, well, where you going with this, AC? Well, doing research, I found old texts. He had a bunch of old texts from these Keishas because he was arguing with some of these Keishas, and his baby mother's a Keisha. Yeah, he got a Keisha. His baby mother's a Keisha. He has a baby mother that's a Keisha. I don't know how many. I know one of them is if he has more than one, I know one of them is a Keisha, right? He has a daughter with her. And he was arguing with these Keishas, right? Let me show you what he said. I want to show y'all the text. He was arguing with this Keisha.
Can you
right?
imagine?
And
look.
They were going back and forth, and in the midst of them going back and forth, she was talking about houses in Virginia. She was talking about it. Like, what are you talking about? Because they was talking about who infected who and why. But I wasn't focused on that. You made your bed, Keisha, laying it. I was focused on this right here. This is the last part of the thread of the text, right? So he said the strategy was simple. F all the fast black 304s raw, right? Busting them, right? And then hope and pray they continue being fast and hope they go and F nothing but black boys raw. Think about that. Gotcha. Now I want y'all to think about that. I want you to think about the conversations that these Keishas that are walking around with houses.
It's a dirty game. Scandalous.
In Virginia, it's from this dude, right? I want you to think about what type of conversations, what type of dialogue they having with each other about them catching that, if they even talking about it. But if they're talking about it, right, who you think they're going to blame it on? Who you think they're going to blame it on? You think they're going to keep it a buck and said it was a dirty, filthy Brad that did that to them? No. You know why? Because they need to save face. They need to save face. The only way they can save face and not look stupid and ridiculous is by saying it was a black male that did it, and that's the reason why they can't deal with black males. That's the reason why they not dating them anymore, or this or that. And they're going to continue chasing Brad just by telling that story, because deep down they don't hold nearly as much as contempt for black men that did nothing to them than these Brads that ruined their life. These Brads ruined their life. This Brad right here, and they have more contempt for black males that's not even involved with them. They'll have more contempt for their baby father.
Can you go away?
I'm sorry, I'm going to go up there to get something. I'm going to speak to him.
Then this degenerate, filthy degenerate right here who destroyed her life. And he did it so easily because he's a prize. Look at him. This is a bottom of the way at the bottom of the barrel Brad. And he did it just because he is a prize to them. He's a prize to them. And he knows that. Why he couldn't do that in the community he was raised? Huh? He couldn't even do that in the trailer parks. He couldn't even do that in the trailer parks. They wouldn't let him do that. He still would have had to compete for Trailer Park Becky in some form or fashion. But over here in the rap community, he didn't have to do nothing. He don't have to show up with anything. He don't have to be about anything. He don't have to be ambitious. He don't have to be, a six-figure earner. He don't have to do any of that. He don't have to drive a nice car. He don't need to have a big house. He didn't have to do any of that. All he did was show up. That's him. All he did was show up in a South Pole jacket with an Adidas hat, looking crazy. That's what he showed up in. Hat to the back, do-rag under it. That's what he showed up. That's how he showed up. Long t-shirts. Filthy looking. He ain't need to show up with anything. And I keep telling y'all that. He didn't need to show up with anything. And all they did was just fall in line. All they did was fall in line. They was with it. They was with it. He showed up in some Pepe jeans and some black Air Forces. Baggy jeans. And he was in there like swimwear. Look how he's grabbed. Look how in these photos and all these in majority of these photos, he's grabbing them up. Look at him. And they let this go, and there was no outrage, nothing. No outrage or nothing. And he is so, you could tell that he is you could tell the jealousy, in him was just so outrageous that his plan was to, take him on tizzy tours. And he's jealous. He's jealous of those other Pookies, right? He's jealous of those other Pookies. He look at those, you could tell he's a Pookie himself, but you could tell he's jealous of the black male Pookies. See, he's a Brad Pookie, but he's jealous of the black male Pookies because when he looks at them, right, he wants to be just like them, right? He wants to act just like them. He wants to be street just like them. But since he can't...
Yeah, that happens a lot still. A lot of so-called white men, they get with so-called black women out of the jealousy that they have towards the so-called black man. So it's not no genuine love for black women or nothing like that. It's just jealousy or competition that they got going on with the so-called black man. But these black women, they hate, a lot of them have a dislike for or a lack of respect for so-called black men. So it's a match made in hell a lot of the time.
Can't be anything like them as far as the culture and everything else. Yeah, he can emulate it. He can emulate it, but they don't look at him as part of the club. So what does he do? He says, you know what? I'm going to infect these Keishas, and these Keishas is going to infect you. That was the strategy. He said it himself. And me telling y'all Because I remember saying, "Hey, stay away from them completely." And you had dudes in the comment section, yeah, just take them on a tizzy tour. No, absolutely not. When I say stay away from them, I mean in all capacity. Not even a tizzy tour, nothing. None of that. You end up ruining your life, man. They don't care about their life. They don't care about their children. You think they're going to care about you? Anyway, salute, peace. Salute to the brothers in the Patreon.
Yeah, this should have went national. This should have went international. There should have been a public announcement, an outcry, outrage about this whole thing, right? But a carpet got thrown over it. A carpet got thrown over the whole thing, and now so-called, niggas, so-called black men are still made out to be the worst thing since Adolf Hitler. But then you got things like this that's still circulating on the internet. Well, it's not really even circulating, it's that you have to dig this up. But yeah, Shalom.